So hello everybody, welcome back to the Midlands Outdoors today, back to another episode where we're going to be doing another walk across the Leasowes once more, and it's actually taken us to a route which has actually taken us to Coombswood, which has a lot of history up there with Hawne Basin, all the surrounding things like Pottery Farm, where I've got a leaflet which tells you the route, and it's actually called the Circular Walk, which takes us through the Monarch's Way path, through the Leasowes, to the back where there's a nice view. You may have seen this on my last Leasowes video, but we're going to be having a look at wildlife today so we can see what we can see when we get down to there, because it is a nice sunny day as well. I've got birds feeding just right by the side of me. But yeah, I'm going to tell you a bit more about where we're going to be going, and I'll show you the map in a bit. But let's have a look at some wildlife first, just to begin with. So we can see, oh, we've got a robin, look at him just up there. I've lost sight of him. Oh, he's there now. Lovely birds, robins am, and I've spotted this the very last time I ever come down to the Leasowes. I mean, they are lovely. I have seen posts on the internet as well where these robins have actually landed on people's hands for food. They're so lovely, especially the bird noise what they give from them as well. It's just absolutely spectacular just to see them. Wow, lovely sight just to start the video, and to see the robin just on the tree line where I spotted it on the floor last time by the canal. Wow. So I can hear other birds singing as well at the same time. We've got blue tits, these blackbirds that I've seen just on the floor feeding. He hasn't been back since though, but I've just been keeping an eye on the robin. Look at that, just zooming out. Lovely just to see that. I'm glad I spotted it just on my arrival. I believe it's possibly this robin that's landed on people's hands, because it's so tame it hasn't moved. And you can see that post on the Leasowes group as well, that's on Facebook. It's really fascinating to see it land in someone's hand. That's just amazing. It could be that one, but there is loads of robins around the Leasowes itself, and there is even kingfishers down here, but he's spotting them on a day-to-day basis. Wow. So I'm going to have to say everybody, it's lovely seeing that robin, especially how it come close to me. It's actually following me, believe it or not. Look around, if I pan around, it's actually just literally right there. It's followed me all the way down from the bottom, from where the car park is. It looks like it's one of these tame robins like I mentioned. I mean, I don't have any seed on me or nothing to be able to feed, because it looks like I'll be able to get it to land on my hand, but there's nothing at all. I should have brought some seed with me, to be honest, it would have come to me. But it's lovely. I can't believe that has actually followed me. It's crazy, and it has followed me before. I walked down this path, it's actually come to where the bench is. You've seen it in my last Leasowes video. I was actually filming the robin by my feet, by the bench. It's absolutely lovely just to see that. So yeah, this is the Leasowes now. This is actually called the embankment. It is really lovely to see it on a day like today when it's sunny, and to have it like this, because I think it's got to be like this for most of the day. But this place is a wonderful place, and I must say, if you're in it for the wildlife, then it's definitely one area to come and check out. Even if you don't live like close by to the Halesowen now, it's definitely worth the trip, I must say. Bring a camera with you. You will get some spectacular shots of what's to hide within the Leasowes. Like, these is woodpeckers, kingfishers, all your little birds like your robins, which I've seen, your blue tits. There's just loads, and especially your water birds as well. I've seen the herons come over here. Just in the bottom trees, there's so much. But it's looking now though, there is so many bird life down there. I mean, seagulls and your basic water birds like your mallards and moorhens. It's quite a lot on here today. But I can just imagine though, right at the back, if I can spot the kingfisher on a walk, because we are doing a circular walk, and it is believed it goes up that way, then up to Coombswood. Robin's actually still there, it's actually trying to come to me now again. It's crazy. So yeah, there was actually this leaflet here, which is the country walks around Halesowen and the borderland. Circular walk number 2, Leasowes and Coombswood. It's actually got a load of information on here about the Dudley number 2 canal and the embankment, which is just right down there. So the canal by the side of me is actually known as the Leasowes Canal, which stretches all the way down the back. Went through a proposed tunnel down the back of Manor Way, known as Leasowes Tunnel, which was actually it closed and it got filled in many years ago. some in the early 1900s. So I will tell you a bit of information about that later when I get up to Coombswood, so we'll cut that bit out. We have here, we've got the Leasowes Historic Landscape and Nature. So William Shenstone, 1714 to 1763, took up permanent residence at his family's farm, known as the Leasowes, around 1745. Situated half a mile of the east of Halesowen town, on the steep westerly slopes of Mucklows Hill. The Leasowes commands fine views of the Clent Hills on a clear day, the distant Malvern Hills, Clee Hills and the Brecon Beacons, which you can see just from the view right at the top when we get up there later. So Shenstone, already appreciating the natural beauty of the wooded glades and fast running streams of his estate, went on to enhance the landscape, creating an ornamental farm in an informal way. He did this in somewhat unplanned fashion, clearing areas, planting trees and shrubs, creating pools, cascades and constructing ruins and seats along many footpaths which are down the bottom down there. Records show that in the 18th century the gardens had become famous and were included on then Grand Tour of Europe. Following Shenstone's death, the estate passed through various hands but is now in public ownership and is listed on the Grade 1 on the Registered Parks of Gardens of Special Historic Interest in England. So you just see there is a bit of information about the Leasowes itself. You can find much more information on the Leasowes Park online. If you just type it in, you will find more about William Shenstone and more of that interesting information about the woodlands situated farther at the back as well. There's many more. This is actually the map which I'm going to show you now. If I just get onto the map. There we go, this is the proposed map which you're going to be walking, which you can see there. It's actually that little pink line which is going around past Breaches Pool, all the way up to Mucklows Hill where the view is, and then over to Coombswood, having a look at some of the history. So we are going to be taking a bit of time looking at some of the history, especially when we get over to Coombswood. We've got Hawne Basin, Coombs Bridge, got a bit of the view up there. We'll get some cinematic shots and views for you today, and obviously seeing if we can spot any wildlife when we're going up today, which would be really interesting compared to the other video. I've even seen the robin coming up to here, got some nice shots, but what else is going to be lurking around there is going to be really interesting. So yeah, I thought I might mention that to you. So there is loads going through here, you've got so much, so we'll try and cover as much as we can for you. So yeah, when I get to Coombswood, I will show you some photos of the Halesowen train line, where the station actually used to be, because over the back you've got the Summers Works, which is over there. It's actually situated close by. There is some old photos, and if you compare it, it looks like it was actually by the factory. I will get some drone coverage as well, just a bit high up, just to show you the views of Hawne Basin, the factories where the train line would have run as well a bit later, and there is so much history to cover. So I will cover the Dudley No. 2 canal history, what's on that leaflet. It's really interesting, tell you about Lapper Tunnel, the way this actually become the way it is today, so it's all on there just to tell you a bit later. So let's make our way now through to the Leasowes, and let's go do a bit of nature watching and see what we can see. If we don't see nothing today, it's just a bit of a walk, and I just want to show you the fantastic views and sceneries of the Leasowes itself. So yeah, absolutely amazing to see some of the wildlife which you can get onto the pool. I've seen majority of the water birds which are on there today. I've seen the robins followed me all the way back from the bottom again to where I am right now. I've seen it, it's been following me all the way behind me because I keep hearing the robin. But absolutely spectacular and lovely, so I thought I might have showed you all the wildlife onto here. Still got more to cover yet. We're going to go up this path up here, bring you up by some little dams which come down like a stream. Absolutely lovely up there, and there's a potential areas where you can spot the kingfisher from time to time. It has been reported to be seen on numerous places onto here. I've seen it once only, but trying to capture it on film was very hard at the time because it was actually really fast. And by the time I zoomed in, because I've got a really good camera, and this is perfect for wildlife, especially from long distance. It's just very hard to do sometimes. You've got to get in the right moment at the right time. So I will try and come up to here at some point within March hopefully, and see if we can get some nice stunning shots if they are still here, which there's a potential chance the kingfishers might be here for quite a while, to be fair, especially because they've got a good source of food for them. But the pool actually stretches just down the corner down here as well before we get onto the path, and there is, I can see more hens just at the back over there, some different variety of wildlife as well. So yeah, absolutely spectacular. I've spotted things that I didn't on my last video, and I found it hard to capture. The jay has surprised me. It's just randomly turned up right in front of me. Wow, I just love it round here. There's so much to see. I could spend hours, and I've got to make a move on though, because we've got to film more yet to go, so I'm going to keep on time schedule. But I'm just watching because there's robins, blue tits, there's even more still visible in the tree lines. It's just, towards spring you can really spot some really good wildlife around the Leasowes. This is why I say it's definitely worth the trip up. If you've never been, definitely get your shoes on and get right up to here, because you are missing out on quite a lot, to be fair, with the wildlife, the scenery. I mean, the place has been done up many times and it looks a bit more better than what it did many years ago. Improved the paths, and it's nice to take your dog for a walk as well, or maybe just come for a general stroll. It's just spectacular. I love it. So just walking down into the Leasowes now, we have got this stream which is right the way down the bottom, so I will give you a better view of it because we've got a crossover. But this stream actually leads into many things, dams. There's actually quite a few dams as I walk up, and some nice scenery as it's going through the woodland. But the very last time I ever come here, the leaves were all dropping on the floor, and it was a nice scenery with all the red colour on the leaves that have dropped. It's obviously starting to fade away now as it's decomposing into the ground, look. And obviously all the wet. There you can see the stream just going right down, so I've got a bit better view of it. And you see how it dams off like into the corners, look, and it goes right the way through underneath here. Now it actually does link up to sort of a bigger dam system right the way at the top, and there's actually another pool behind that. So if we just get up there, we'll show you that. But it's going to get these tree roots. It's amazing how far tree roots actually grow. You see them all going down by the side, look. down by the side where all the soil's going eroding in from all the rain we've had, so it's leaving up all the roots on the floor. Look, nice just to see that. So yeah, pretty much this is actually why there's quite a lot of wildlife around the Leasowes. Having these streams, having the pools does bring a variety across. And obviously how some of the birds have got the water sources as well. Mainly all the water birds. I mean, if it wasn't all here, then there wouldn't be much up here, to be honest. It's what actually brings most of the wildlife. So you can just see this is actually the next section itself, where it's leading up to the top. You can see the stream. And it's nice how it just looks like back there. I mean, in my last episode I filmed that. Really just interesting just to see. It's a nice scenery there for you guys. So we can just see like the little dam which is right there, how it's constructed up just onto the corner. So it actually leads into sort of another pool. And it's sort of the same story again. As the more you walk up, it leads into another like stream, then to another dam, and then into another pool. But there's another couple of pools as we get further up to the top. But you can just see in this one, if I just look through, look at that. We've got all the water going through, look. And that's actually leading into the dam system, so it's draining through. And that is actually to stop like if it overflows, so it's keeping the water at a constant level. It has rised a little bit though at times. It's actually come up near the wall. I've seen people post photos where it's actually come to the edge there. It's nearly come over without the amount of rain what we've had. But I think there is actually little fish into it. We've got little fry. I have seen fry in the summertime when the sun's beaming down, fish into there. Obviously I think they come from like sections, they come from the pool at the top. There is fish at the top pools. There's bigger fish down the bottom. Majority of them, not the carp, are all down the bottom pool. And there is a pool up by Lapple as well. You've got the very top pool up there. But it's interesting just to see these though, and taking like the stunning like architecture of how it's built around like a landscape just in the distance. That bit up there is really nice as well. It reminds me of Richborough Hill, where you've got the fort which was situated there by the ramparts. It looks similar to me, so it actually reminds me of Richborough every time I go past it. But let's have a walk around there. So we're actually taking this path, I believe, which is still on the circular walk. So yeah, this is the area that actually reminds me of Richborough Hill. So you can just see the path up to there. And so it goes up like on a slope, and up Richborough Hill it's actually really similar, where you've got the ramparts at the top. So it's like it just completely reminds me of it when you're walking past every time, especially the trees as well. The stream, it's just lovely. There is another like dam system as I get further up to the top. Actually more wildlife up here. I can see like again blue ticks on the trees up there. So more. So this is actually the next section up to the next pool. So you will actually see the dam just down the bottom down here. It's amazing just to see it though, the way it was actually designed. You can just imagine how old the dam is itself, the way it's dating back. But just look at that with the water going down. That is a really nice photograph opportunity as well from there, especially with the sun beaming down. It's a lovely shot of that. But I have got close to have a look down there, but they've blocked it off now. They've put wire and to stop people from walking closer to it. But I think it dates back to when this park was like the William Shenstone many years ago. You can tell by the brick as well, all the brick is on the wall. They've actually done repairs to it over many years as well for this. But the kingfisher, when I spotted it, was just literally just up the corner up here. Just round here, I will show you. Never know, might actually get some close photography shots if it's up here. I can't see anything just at the moment. But all I was doing was just onto the corner here, looking down, and I seen it come from like a branch on a tree and dive in and catch a fish. By the looks of it, even somebody else has come to me, have you seen the kingfisher today? And there is no signs of it at all. But there is fish in this one as well. I have seen little fry again in this one. Some other fish. There is some at the next one as well, just up to the top. But absolutely lovely just to see the scenery of it there. It's beautiful. Yeah, just thought I might mention this because I've got the leaflet which is just right in front of me. You can see this like little dam that's going all the way down. It has got that orange colour to it just there. And just there on the corner, just going all the way to the top. And it actually does say, I'll just find it for you. So, the Chalbeat Spring. Springs and wells that emerge from iron-rich rocks, seen as a bright orange colour, throughout ancient history were considered as a sacred places. Sometimes were votive offerings could be made. Shenstone made this Chalbeat or iron-bearing spring notable feature on his circuit walk. That's what it's actually all that colour going all the way down. And you can see it's like orange in the water, which is going all the way down there, look. And also just up there, flown all the way from up the top. I can see it coming from the ground as well, over the back. So yeah, this is the last one. There aren't any more dams after this, because it's leading into the woodland. But you can see it's a different architecture to the one that I've seen down the bottom. But this one is actually like a steps. And you see like steps leading down when the water's flowing all the way down. That one's a lovely one. I do love seeing that. I'll see how that flows all the way down to the bottom and journeys way to the main pool, which is at the start. But you just imagine the little fry that come down there from the pools, the little fish. That's what brings the herons over here as well, because I have seen the herons from time to time, and that is actually why you get the kingfisher on the Leasowes itself. That's why they're actually spotted over here, because of the fish life which is lurking in these waters, the small insects as well. So you can sort of get a better view of the top of the dam, which is down the bottom. Look, see it's all flowing down. Lovely architecture of that dam going down there. This is actually the final pool, which we're just approaching. Wildlife spotting, my advice is, because I've been doing it for years, is to be patient. Don't rush your going about. Like, if you think you've not seen anything for the day, always pick a spot, go back to that spot a bit later on. You all might have better luck going backwards and forwards, because wildlife don't stay in one spot, especially on the Leasowes. They could travel from one pool to another. They could even be in the woodland situated down there, where you've got the little stream going down. They could be anywhere on it, because it is really vast, the Leasowes. But don't forget, wildlife do travel. They don't stick to one area. They can move from one area to another, so you may not see them again for much of a while. But it's trying to spot them. It's one of those little gems, trying to spot these kingfishers. I mean, I've only spotted it the one time. They're so lovely. I love them, I do. Them beautiful birds, seeing the colours on them, the way they dive into the water as well to catch the fish. It's just breathtaking just to capture it. And if you've got some nice photos, wow, you've been for a good treat of the day if you've got some nice photos from them. But at the moment, the only things what I can see on here at the moment is obviously your mallards. I've seen a few moorhens go around the island, but that's about it. There isn't too much here. But I'm just looking up and I can't see any little birds, but I can hear some like blue tips again. But you just have to take in the environment, and if you're careful enough and watching, you will probably spot some stuff. It's about the patience is the key, and that's what it's all about when spotting wildlife. So yeah, welcome back to the second half of the video. Now it has changed a bit because the weather turned ever so nasty that day when I'd done the scenery and the view of over the Halesowen. Now it went so windy and I thought I had to cut the video and come on a nicer day. Well, the day looks like it's going to be alright, but it has got to go a bit cloudy later. But it's a better chance to film a bit of the content which is around Coombswood itself. We are on the opposite route, which is the route that I was going to come from to buy B&Q, but we are still on a circular walk. So from the B&Q section, just coming down right now past the factory, and you will see Hawne Basin, which is just down the bottom. So I have decided to take this route because we can go up to Pottery Farm from that way and go and take a look. So just down here now, we have got some wildlife. There is a robin in there. You can see it there, look, it's coming close to me. I'll get some nice shots of that. You can see it there, look at that. Early morning, we've even got wild birds, look. Lovely just to see them. I love robins, they are so lovely birds. Spectacular just to see them. There he goes. Oh, he's hanging off the tree. Right, so let's go and take a look at Hawne Basin, which is just down the bottom. So yeah, Hawne Basin is pretty much a really old canal wharf which is down here. Which you can see, this was actually a loading bay many years ago for industry such as coal mines. It was originally built to serve the old Hawne Colliery, which is in Halesowen, which was one of the oldest coal mines that was running at the time. And it is still, there is actually Hawne Colliery, which is down the bottom by Halesowen. You can actually still see that today. And spanning round, you will just see Hawne Basin in a better view. So here we are, you can get a better view of the Coombswood Hawne Basin itself, which is just over here. You can see the back of the Summers factory just right there at the back over there, and there is the old Halesowen train line which ran across that many years ago. I believe it's situated somewhere at the back over there. I will see if I can find anything when I do a bit of aerial footage a bit later, just to see if there's anything over there. But Hawne Basin, you can just tell by the bridges, I mean how old it is as well, by the brick. Just imagine that's been there for many years, that bridge. And obviously you can just see when there was loading all the coal, when it was used for old Hawne Colliery many years ago. This is the purpose why it was built. So there was horse-drawn tramway which led all the way down to where the hay seat section is, and it come all the way up to here. So it is really interesting. I've got a bit of history just to tell you about. So originally a colliery basin and a wharf properly constructed around 1798, almost as soon as the canal was completed. Here large fleets of narrow boats could be loaded up with coal, transported on a scale never imagined before, and at a considerably reduced cost compared to transport by road. The name Hawne Basin is thought to have derived from the 18th century old Hawne Colliery, which then hauled its coal from Halesowen lower down the Stour Valley by a horse-drawn tramway to the basin. Old Hawne Colliery closed in 1883, and around 1902 the Great Western Railway built a loop line and sidings to serve the Haywood Forge and Hawne Basin. The basin was then able to interchange goods from the narrow boats to the railway. The large nearby Stewart's and Lloyd's factory then used the canal to ferry their tube products to the basin to transfer to awaiting rail trucks. The railway sidings finally closed in 1967, and shortly afterwards Stewart's and Lloyd's large fleet of narrowboats were no more. Alright, so it's interesting that I mentioned Stewart's and Lloyd's, which is all the way down the bottom. I do know they're transporting much of their goods across the canal. Now you could just imagine though, all the canal lines which are down here, which is this basin, Dudley number 2, Dudley number 1, like I mentioned before, it was a prosperous industry travelling in all their coal, steel, and pretty much all their goods across the canals back in those days, because it was a much more better way to get them across and easy access to get from one side to another. So since 1977, Hawne Basin was taken to a new lease of life and has been regenerated by the Coombswood Canal Trust. A registered charity in 2007, the trust was able to purchase the freehold of the basin, thereby securing its future. So you can just see the way it is today with all the barges which have been moored up to stay over. It is a nice scenery as well this morning, just to see the Hawne Basin just over there with the sun shining down on the Summers Forge factory. So the next bit I want to show you is actually another section of this canal line. Now this bit down here is actually Coombswood Bridge. which is just down the bottom. So I think it's Coombs Bridge, which is down there. It is really an interesting thing as well, because it is grade listed. It was demolished and a new bridge placed there, but there was an old bridge back in place. And I will tell you a bit more when I get down to it. It is really interesting. So I have got a bit of information on the Dudley No. 2 canal itself, which went all the way to the Lapper Tunnel, then to Selly-Oak. So it does say, in 1972, the Dudley Canal Company proposed to extend their canal from Netherton to Selly-Oak via the Halesowen, and so make a vital connection with the Worcester and Birmingham Canal. The route was originally surveyed by John Snape, who proposed that there were to be no locks, a short tunnel at Gloucester Hill of 509 metres, a long tunnel at Lapper 3,470 metres. A high embankment was needed at the Leasowes, Halesowen. However, considering the canal was generally designed where possible to follow the natural contours, it can only be assumed that the need of a high embankment to cross the Leasowes Valley was to avoid the famous ornamental farm and gardens created by William Shenstone. The embankment is unique, as it was probably one of the highest to be constructed in the early days of the canal era. Really interesting just to learn about that. And the embankment, which was where I started the video, where I looked down on the Leasowes, that was actually the embankment just down there. So there were originally safety stop gates at each end of the embankment, which could operate automatically in case of breach. But just to keep an eye on things, especially on a stormy night, a lengthman was stationed at the end of the embankment in a small cottage, which is now being demolished. Oh wow, I didn't even know about that. That is really interesting once more. The extension to Selly-Oak was known as the Dudley No. 2 canal, was opened in 1798. However, the tunnel at Lapper throughout its long history suffered major roof and sidewall collapses and failures. According to the British Waterways report, the tunnel was finally closed to through traffic in 1926, and impassable collapses of 1917 and 22. Following the closure at the Lapper, commercial traffic still traded on the remaining navigations on either side of the tunnel, servicing the many factories and mines that are sprung up along the banks. However, the canal through the Leasowes and beyond was in those days still very rural, and in 1935 was advertised by Mrs. Beard, a delightful stretch of water for pleasure boating. Many of you might know about that, so people on the Halesowen member group might know about the boating which happened down on those sections. Spare me 1 second. A delightful stretch of water for pleasure boating from Haywood Wharf, Mucklow Hill to Lapper Tunnel. The Dudley No. 2 canal, including the Lapper Tunnel from Mucklow Hill to the Selly-Oak junction, was formerly abandoned under the British Transport Commission Act of 1953. During 1954, the British Transport Commission sold the same section to the Borough of Halesowen, who on the 16th of August 1955 opened the canal for yet again pleasure boating. During 1964-5, the canal was filled in from much of the tunnel portal to the Manor Way, which mainly with spoil from the construction of the new A456 trunk road and the junction No. 3 of the M5 motorway. Around this time, pleasure boating ceased operation in the Leasowes, so you had in the Leasowes as well. So during 1988-9, the water levels of the now isolated canal in the Leasowes suddenly dropped after a period of holding water at full level for some 190 years. In 1997, the canal retaining walls along the Leasowes and Haywood embankment was reconstructed using reinforced concrete. So I believe all that canal section was restored many years ago, so restoring the walls, make it still look really good down there. There was on about restoring this canal section about a year ago, trying to get it restored back to how it was. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to propose to put the going around by the trying to think of where it is now, Woodgate Valley, somewhere around there, instead of going through where it would have gone through Lapper Tunnel, trying to go over ground with it. So that is what apparently what I was going to do. I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of history, especially learn about the pleasure boating which went on down there. I mean, there is some things I didn't know, like that building which was by the embankment. If many of you know what that was all about, feel free to drop it in the comments. I am really interested just to find out what that was all about. So here we are, Coombs Bridge. It's really interesting to me because I know it ties into a lot of history when the original built bridge was actually there. It's actually now a steel constructed bridge. I will read out to you when I get to the top of it a little piece of information about the bridge and what it was about. So it is a lovely view up here, especially with the sun shining, which is just rising this morning. And later on it will go just right above the Dudley No. 2 canal, which is some nice cinematic shots. But there is some information here about Coombs Bridge, which is just here. So the present steel footbridge was erected on the 3rd of March 1993 by volunteers from Halesowen Abbey Trust, who coordinated the work, organised the fundraising. It replaced the traditional humpback bridge that was demolished by the Home Guard in 1944 as an anti-invasion measure to protect the canal side factories involved in the war effort. So, oh wow, so it was actually a brick bridge. Imagine what the old bridge would have actually looked like though compared to this one. But the original bridge was built sometime around 1796 to carry farm traffic on the old Green Lane over the Dudley No. 2 canal. Also, the Green Lane and Coombs Bridge, or Pepper's Bridge as it was known locally, were used by factory workers and miners walking to from their shafts from the late 19th century. So you had the Coombswood Colliery, which is right there at the back, and I believe Coombswood Colliery is actually now on a factory which is over the other side of that, just down the back down there. So a haunting newspaper cutting shows relatives and friends of the miners lined up across Coombs Bridge and along the canal side in March 1929. The anguish of a mining disaster can be seen on their faces as they waited of the news of their loved ones. All right, because I know there was a mining disaster over here. I believe it was with the Coombswood Colliery itself as well. 8 men tragically lost their lives in the fires in the disaster below the ground at Coombswood Colliery. During the restoration of the Green Lane during 1987 and 8 by the Halesowen Abbey Trust, a miner's pick was found buried just below the surface. It may have fallen from his bag as he walked to or from work. Today is gratifying to see that the bridge is well used, providing a vital footpath linking following a break of some 49 years. So you can see the history there, but it is interesting once more just to learn about the Coombswood Colliery and the disaster which happened right below. I will place a photo on now for you of the Coombswood Colliery so you just see what it was all about. You see some old photos of that just over there. There is one down on the board as well, down the bottom, which I'll go and take a look at. So there is more information, and I will be covering something about the pottery farm, which is just right there. So I will tell you a bit of information later about it. So you've got the Green Lane and the ancient Holloway, which we will be covering as well. So you can just see there Coombswood Colliery, which is just right there. So you just imagine what it's like. I will take another photo and pop it over once more for you. But you've got Hawne Basin, look at the photo of that there as well. And you've got Stewart's and Lloyd's. Just imagine what that was like down the canal line. Lots of history behind that. Once more covered in the other video and most of it. So I thought I might have shown you that because there is a lot of interesting information about the local area just on there. So right, what we're going to be doing now is making our way all the way up to the hill, and let's go and take a look at where the pottery farm is situated, and we'll get some nice views over this area and a bit of drone footage showing you some old photographs once more again, what the local area would have looked like back in the days. Yeah, just now walking up, we are coming to something interesting now. This actually led to pottery farm many years ago. So hedgerows to either side of the Green Lane or Holloway that passes through pottery farm have been dated as to be over 1,000 years old, which suggests a possible connection with a Saxon period of circa 400, 1066 AD. This ancient lane may also have been a long distance drover's road, providing a route at one time between Wales and the Midlands. Oh wow, that's interesting. That is, just read that bit of information there, from Wales and the Midlands. That's crazy. You imagine how far this would have probably gone back many years ago. So I think that's about pretty much it there. We've got one more thing to cover now, which is the pottery farm, so we will get up to there and we'll go and take a look. But just walking up though, you could just imagine how old this route possibly is up here, because you can see the plantations of the trees on the sides, especially some of the trees over here. I know some of these are really old, but it's just lovely coming through and seeing the way it's all grown over on the side. But that's pretty cool though, seeing that the trees are just growing right at the side of the wall, which is banking up, look, all the roots are sticking out. So we are coming to another junction. Oh wow, a tree has actually fell down up here. Now I believe somewhere there is a junction. If I just get the map up, which I've got on me, we can just see right here. Now we've just come from L. Now if we keep walking, on the left should bring us to where the proposed pottery farm is situated. I don't know if it's still there today. I've never seen it or heard about it before, which today is pretty much something new that I've learned on Coombswood, is the pottery farm. So I believe it was situated somewhere at the back over there. Let's go and have a quick look. And you've got the stunning views over here as well, once more, of the Halesowen area, bottom of Coombswood. You can see really far just in the distance. Yeah, this is a really old tree, because you can see how old it is. It's just collapsed on the side. Look, it's nearly falling on the footpath. It's got a big base trunk on this one, look at that. Especially how it's curved over. That's pretty much why it's collapsed as well, it's curved and it's rotted from a corner, look, and split in half. And it's linking all over here now. Yeah, this is actually the very top of Coombswood now, which you can just see a bit of the view, which is appearing just around the corners. Look, you see the green belt of the Coombswood. There is loads of nature over here. When I've been over before, I have seen the kestrel. Kestrel has been spotted over the back over to here. But if you're seeing it on the summer, on a very nice day, it's just wonderful to what you can possibly spot over here. I can hear the birds singing at the moment. There's loads of wild birds. That's the blue tits and the robins. It's just lovely just to hear it on a quiet morning. And I've been over there before. You have got some interesting things which I will cover in a future video, which is the old murder cottage, which was situated over the back over there. There is remains that I've been heard of the old oven where the murder weapon was actually placed. It's still there, somewhere buried in the backs, in the depths of the woodland over there. So we will be trying to cover that later, in a later date, just to tell you more about it. But Pottery Farm, which is up here, I think it's over the top of that hill, I believe so. So Pottery Farm, it was the last upland hill farm within the West Midlands boundary. The now defunct Bellevue Potteries had kilns in the nearby top field, which is just up to there, and manufactured in the late 19th century flower pots, ornamental path edgings and other products. Some of the barns have been dated as built somewhere between the 16th and 17th century and are reputed to contain timbers and foundations of Saxon origin. The barns have now been reconverted to residential occupancy, which I mentioned someone is living in it up there. So let's go and have a quick look at what I've done to it. So you just can see it from the side. Let's try and get up to here now. Ooh, it's got to be very careful. You need the correct footwear to do this. So now I've got walking shoes on, but it's very slippy. I'm going to take my time to get up. Oh well, so that is actually Pottery Farm right there. I can't really get closer to show you. I don't really want to invade privacy because it's a lived in property. But you can just see these old conversions right at the back. And you've got the conversion here, so you imagine this was the original farmhouse which has been done up to now, being lived in modernly. So there possibly would have been kilns somewhere on the field, probably not there now because it's dating back quite a bit. But look at the view, wow, this is a lovely view. I must admit, you can see Halesowen. If I walk further down, you'll get some nice fantastic views. So I think what I'm going to do, while it's like this, while the wind's okay, I'm going to get a bit of drone footage. I will take it over the back. I will see if I can see some views from the top over where Summers is, Hawne Basin. I want to see if I can see where the train line and station would have been situated. It'd be interesting to have a quick look. So let's make our way a bit down and get a bit of more view so I can take it off. But hopefully it stays like this for most of the day, because I am planning to go around the Leasowes park and do some photography today. Something different for a change, because not usually do I do photography, but I have to be in kind of a mood to do it. So I haven't used my camera in quite a while. But this route though, it is a nice route to go down, because it takes you all down the back. So you can go down there, leads you back down the bottom. I think that's the way I'm gonna have to go really, because I don't fancy walking back down that steep drop. So yeah, I'm thinking here I should take it off really. Well, I've got the great views. As you can see, that's where I'm gonna take it. Just over there.